Hey friends, so today I am doing what God has asked me to do. Today is January 29th, 2024, which is also the 14th anniversary of my oldest son's passing, my firstborn. It's the 14th anniversary of his passing. As you can imagine, I have been a little sad today. Um, every year on this day, I kind of relive what happened, and sometimes I'm okay, sometimes I'm not. Um, Today I'm feeling pretty strong. I have had my tears. I mean, I'm sure you can probably see in my face that I've cried, but um, God wanted me to share my story today about what happened to my son. Maybe as awareness, maybe, I mean, I'm not sure, you know, why he wants me to share it now, but I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to share what happened. I may cry. So, if you don't like to watch videos where people cry, then don't watch this video because I don't know until I, really start talking about it. But, um, so January 29th of 2010, no, let me tell you about my son first. So when I was 15 years old, I got pregnant with a baby boy. Um, I turned 16 December 1st of 2009, and I gave birth to my son on December 11th of 2009. His name was Eric. Um, Fast forward from there, a week before, or just a few days before he passed away, I got a bad feeling that something was going to happen. And so did his dad. He also had a bad feeling. Um, I remember us having that conversation, but we just kind of left it there. I was not, at the time my son passed away, I was not dating him. I was dating someone else. But yeah, so fast forward to January 29th of 2010. I was asleep on the couch in my mom's house. Of course, I was only 16, so I was living with my mom. My mom was in the hospital. She had just had surgery during that week, and she was due to come home the night before, but for whatever reason, that process was delayed. So I was home with my older sister and my younger sister. My older sister was the adult at the time in the house, and then um, my now ex, but my boyfriend at the time, he was there. Um, and we were just hanging out the night before January 28th. We were supposed to go to the movies or something. We were just hanging out, just doing whatever. And my sister, she left that night and to go hang out. She said she'd be back. And myself and my boyfriend at the time, we were there with my son, who was about 7 weeks old, and my little sister, she was also there. So we go to sleep on the couch. I'm on the I'm on the left side of the couch, and I have my son with me, and my boyfriend at the time was on the right side of the couch. It was this very, very long couch. And we're asleep. And I wake up because I was supposed to go to school that next morning. And I just was like, it felt weird because I knew that I should have been up, or I was too rested. I felt way too rested. So it was weird. But when I really came to, I was looking for my son, and I realized that he was up under my arm. And so I lifted my arm and I grabbed him and I kissed him, and he was cold. So I tapped my boyfriend at the time and I told him, I said, hey, like, EJ's not breathing. And he hopped up. He was like, what? And so he grabs EJ from me, and I get my phone and I see that EJ's dad called the night before, but we were sleeping. And I see that I have a missed call from my grandma. And so I go to call 911, and my boyfriend at the time, he's like, come on, big man, come on, big man. He's saying, come on, big man, wake up, big man. And I'm on the phone. I get an operator, and I let the person know that my son, my infant son, was not breathing. And the operator told me and asked me, you know, if he had choked on anything. And at that moment, I was 16, so I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna think I did something to him. So even though I knew that he was up under my arm, I didn't know if I should say that. Like, I didn't know what to think. And so I told her that he hadn't choked on anything, and that, you know, she was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you some instructions. I have help on the way, but I'm going to tell you what to do. So she had me lay my son on the floor. And she told me to use my finger and stick my finger in his mouth to see if he had choked, but his jaw was shut. So it was really hard to get into his mouth. So she told me to try and put his head back, and she started giving me instructions on how to perform CPR. I had never done it before, so, you know, she walked me through it. And I can do it. So I'm doing CPR, and she told me to cover his nose and his mouth with my mouth, and breathe to blow into him. And so I did, and it would make his chest rise and fall. And so I just had that little bit of hope, but the more I blew into him, the more his chest would go up and down. And then his nose started bleeding, and I lost it. And I could hear my boyfriend at the time. He was calling my family members on the phone, and my little sister, who was getting ready for school, she had come out of the room. I heard the music in her room when she opened her door, and she came out to try and find out what was going on. And she saw me on the floor with my son, and she fell against the wall and started crying. And Eventually, the paramedics pulled up and they came and they grabbed him. And I remember being outside on the porch, screaming. I remember being out there screaming to the top of my lungs for God to please not take my son. I told God that I would do right. I told him that I'd do whatever he wanted me to do if my son didn't leave me. And I'm just hollering, and I hear my sister hollering. And then, excuse me, hold on. So, my family members start pulling up. My neighbors are out there trying to figure out what's going on. And at some point, I remember like some advocates and just different people pulling up, and they were asking me what happened, and they had a video camera, so they gave me this tall white teddy bear with some colors on it, and they had me demonstrate what happened. And as I'm showing them what's happening or what happened, you know, I told them that my son was laying in my arms, because he was laying in my arms like this when I went to sleep. And I told him that he, you know, he was in a different position when I woke up. And as I'm demonstrating what's going on, my sister pulled up with my mom in the car. Like I said, she was in the hospital after having surgery, and they released her so she could come to the house. And I remember her getting out of the car, and she hugged me, and she was in pain, but we hugged and we cried. And at some point, my son's father, he pulled up. His parents pulled up with him in the car, and he was asking, what happened? What happened? And I said, I don't know. And so everybody's upset. And at some point, we go in the house, and my mom and my sister, my oldest sister, they had them outside. And they spoke with them. And then everyone came inside, and as we were waiting to find out what happened, or what, you know, if my son was okay. And the advocate said, I have some news, but her upbeat attitude gave me a little bit of false hope. I thought she was going to tell me that he was okay. But she told me that he was gone. And she told me that he was gone. And I don't even think I heard anything else. I don't think I heard anything else. I remember screaming. And I remember everybody else around me crying. And so, of course, the ambulance drives away with my son. And my family, they're all there. And we're talking. And everybody's trying to just love on each other. And I remember picking up my phone, and I had a voicemail from my grandma, and she was like, "Hey, it's Grandma. I was just calling to check on my big man." She was calling to check on my son. And that broke my heart so bad. But I know that I'm not the first to go through this. I know I will not be the last, unfortunately, of a co-sleeping incident. It was an accident. It was an accident, and I blamed myself for like 8 years. I blamed myself for it for 8 years, and I didn't tell anybody for an entire 8 years that I woke up with my son under my arm. I did share it about 8 years later, 7 or 8 years later, on Facebook in a Facebook Live video. And I got so much love, and so many people telling me that, you know, it either happened to them or it almost happened to them. So in awareness of co-sleeping, I wouldn't recommend it. I was laying with my son, you know, because I love him. I wanted him close, and we also weren't trying to go to sleep right then. We were laying on the couch because we were supposed to go that night, but I wouldn't recommend co-sleeping. I would recommend putting the babies in a crib, a bassinet. They even have like these co-sleepers now, where, you know, you can lay with the baby in bed, but they're safe. But I definitely wouldn't recommend co-sleeping with your newborn because they're so small, and I didn't feel him at all. I was so exhausted, and if I could help somebody not go through what I went through, the years of agony, because I still to this day am very hurt when it comes to my son. And I have other children now. I've given birth to 6 other children since then, one of which who have also passed away, and I'll share that story also. She passed away from anencephaly, so not the same thing, but keep those babies safe. Put them in a bassinet or a crib so that you too don't have to feel what I feel. I no longer suffer from depression like I did after that. I suffered from depression for years after that. I no longer suffer from depression anymore, but I am still not completely healed, and it's been 14 years. So put those babies in a crib, okay? Keep those babies safe. And if you have any other children, love on them. Love on your babies, your children, no matter how old they are. Just love on them. Because I wish I could do that. I wish I could love on my son and my daughter. But thank you for listening. Hopefully I can help somebody with my story. hopefully I can save somebody from going through the pain and the agony that I have felt for 14 years. God is good. I'm not mad at God, and I'm no longer mad at myself anymore. Do I wish it could have happened differently? Do I wish that I could have my son? Yes. But I understand that there's a reason for everything. And I know that one day that'll be revealed. But for now, I hold him dear in my heart. His pictures are up here. I keep them close to me. But yeah, so hopefully this helps someone. I'm not looking for sympathy. I don't need that. But I appreciate anybody who took the time to listen and who will share this with a family member, someone who doesn't have kids yet, who might be pregnant or whatever, so that you just know, you know, to not co-sleep with your babies. So the cause of death was positional asphyxiation, and that was him being trapped up under my arm. So again, thank you for watching, and I pray that this helps somebody. I love you all, but God loves you more.